The following video was recorded during the day by a woman who is already on edge before the clip even begins. According to her own description, she is not reacting to a single incident, but to something she has been seeing intermittently since she was a teenager, something she says has appeared across multiple years and never quite behaves the same way twice. The camera is pointed toward a second floor window area, and at first glance, nothing appears unusual, until something shifts. Watch. A dark shape appears near the edge of the window area and moves in a way that immediately feels difficult to place. She explains that there is no physical space outside that section of the window where anything could reasonably walk or stand. No balcony, no ledge, no walkway that would allow a person or object to appear in that position. That detail is what has kept this footage circulating among viewers, because it removes the simplest explanation of someone physically passing by. In her own words, she first began noticing the shadow when she was around 14 years old. Over time, she says it appeared intermittently, never consistently, sometimes disappearing for years before returning again without warning. The most recent sighting she mentions was in 2019, during a period when she was living with her young dog and her grandmother. She adds something particularly unsettling about that time. According to her, her grandmother, in her final months, also saw a black shadow inside the house. In various cultural beliefs, shadow-like presences are often associated with omens, transitional states, or entities that exist on the edge of perception, appearing more frequently during emotionally charged periods in a person's life. So why is she seeing what her grandmother saw? The following video was recorded by a woman who says she ended up in what's considered the most haunted room of a building entirely by accident, alone, at night, with no one else around. She had a camera and a silver Panasonic digital voice recorder with her, and from the moment she stepped inside, something felt off.
If there's anything you'd like to say, feel free. Thought I heard something over there. Is there anyone up here with me? Am I alone in here? Am I safe in here? I'm going to stop the recording. Hey, a weird deja vu. Oh, Jesus.
Feel free. Thought I heard something over there. Is there anyone up here with me? Am I alone in here? Am I safe in here? Stop the recording.
Thank you. Oh, Jesus.
Feel free. Thought I heard something over there. Is there anyone up here with me? Am I alone in here? Am I safe in here?
What the recorder picks up is described as an EVP, an electronic voice phenomenon, a faint distorted whisper that sounds unmistakably like the words, "Go back, and almost immediately after, a satanic book on the second shelf from the top falls flat on its own, landing with a loud, clear thump. Nothing touches it. If you watch the shelf in the moments before it happens, everything is completely still. No vibration, no one nearby, no obvious cause. EVP recordings like this one have divided people for decades. Skeptics argue that audio pareidolia, the brain's tendency to find patterns in noise, can make random sounds seem like words, especially when you're already on edge in a dark room. But others point out that the voice and the physical event happen almost simultaneously, which is harder to write off as coincidence. A disembodied voice telling him to leave, followed immediately by a book launching itself off a shelf. Whether that's a warning, a response, or something else entirely, you decide. Before we head back in, one quick thing. All of our videos are now on Spotify, so if that's where you tend to be late at night, every compilation we've made is sitting there waiting for you. Watch it however you'd rather watch it. The link's in the bio. Now, back to the video. The following video was recorded by a man who works at a cemetery, and if that detail alone doesn't set the tone for everything that follows, what he found inside the storage shed on a Tuesday morning certainly will. He'd set up an experiment the night before, spreading sweeping compound across the concrete floor of the garage, a dusty mixture of pink and white powder, and left a yellow tennis ball resting inside a white plastic spool on the workbench. The idea was simple. If something was moving through that space at night, the powder would catch it. He unlocks the shed door and steps in, and almost immediately, just as he's walking through, he stops mid-step. He thinks he hears his name being whispered. He calls out, gets no answer, and keeps moving, until he looks down at the floor. Watch.
Oh, ball's out there. The ball's out there. We got prints. Holy shit, we got him. We got prints. Work bag out there. Okay. So we got prints. There's definitely prints in there. Look at that. What the hell? It's harder to see in the gray compound, but you can clearly see it in the pink. And the ball's just sitting there. The ball was up in that spool, that white spool was inside there when I left. And now the ball's here. Are you trying to tell me you want to play? What the hell was that? So I see your prints. I'm gonna have a camera shortly here. And I'm gonna... I don't even want to tell it. Look at that. Guys, look at that. Kinda looks like... That middle part seems to be a little extended there. It's kinda rude. And there's like nothing leading out or in. That is wild. Guys, I can't wait to get this camera installed. It should be here any day. We can actually witness the prints forming.
What he found is hard to dismiss. Deep in the pink powder are several sets of cloven, hoof-like prints, 2 long pointed ovals pressed side by side, clear and well-defined. And the yellow tennis ball that had been sitting inside the spool on the workbench is now on the floor next to the powder, with nothing in the dust to indicate how it got there. No drag marks, no trail, no prints leading in or out, just the impressions, appearing as though something dropped directly onto the powder and then vanished. Skeptics argue the prints could have been staged, pressed by hand or foot before the powder was set, but the shape doesn't match a human hand or any common animal track. Others took a different view entirely, pointing to the cloven shape and what it implies. In Christian and Abrahamic tradition, the hoofprint is one of the oldest visual associations with demonic presence, an image so deeply embedded in Western religious folklore that it's hard to look at those prints in a cemetery shed and not feel the weight of that symbolism. He comes back to the same shed not long after, this time trying to capture something he says he's already witnessed, a door inside the garage swinging open and closed on its own. He taunts whatever's in the room, tells it to go ahead and do it. Watch.
Oh, I tried catching it, guys. This door was just swinging back and forth. Open, closed, open, closed. I don't think I caught it in time. Oh. Go ahead and do it. Holy shit. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening.
The white door, which moments earlier he opened by hand, begins to swing shut on its own from a fully open position, moving at a slow and completely steady pace before latching closed with a solid click. No sudden gust, no visible string, no mechanism on the frame. He just stands there for a moment and then says quietly, "Holy shit." Then, and this is the part that stays with you, he thanks it. Whatever he's dealing with in that shed, he seems to believe it's listening. And based on everything the powder caught the night before, it's not hard to understand why. The following clips were all recorded by the same woman, and across each one, you can see a situation that's been quietly unraveling over what sounds like days. Sleep deprivation, that persistent feeling of being watched, and a growing sense that whatever is in her home isn't keeping to itself anymore. It starts with her waking up on the couch one night, convinced something had been staring at her while she slept. Unsettled, she went back through the footage on her security camera, a topo model mounted in her living room, and found something she wasn't expecting. She's visibly tearful when she pulls it up, her voice shaking as she describes the feeling she'd had. Watch.
Guys, I'm actually so freaked out right now. Last night I fell asleep early on the couch and I just felt like something was in here, like staring at me the whole time. And when I woke up, I decided to check the footage on my cameras. Let me show you this, guys. Did you see my bedroom door? I actually have no idea what to do right now.
Right there in her room, a closed door slowly swings open on its own. No one near it, no breeze, no explanation. It happens quietly, almost carefully, which is somehow worse than if it had slammed. Some viewers think it's air pressure or latch that didn't catch fully. Others point out that doors swinging open in the middle of the night while someone sleeps nearby fall into a pattern described in a lot of attachment cases. a presence testing the space, moving closer incrementally. She ends the clip asking what she's supposed to do. That question starts to feel more urgent in the next one. Days later, she's back on camera explaining her current situation. Listen closely.
Hey guys. Things are still happening. I'm still not sleeping at all at night. Try to catch up on my sleep during the day. I'm starting to hear voices, like people that I feel like I know, just in my house at random places, and I feel like I'm seeing things that aren't there, and I just, oh my god, that cup just flew right off my nightstand. What the?
Mid-sentence, a loud crash erupts from off-camera to her right, and she physically flinches, the camera lurching sideways with her, before she turns back, wide-eyed, and says a cup just flew off her nightstand. The word flew is what a lot of people latched onto in the comments. Not fell, not slid, flew. Objects moving on their own are common enough in reported cases that they get dismissed quickly, but the combination here, her deteriorating sleep, the voices, and now physical activity escalating in her immediate space, lines up with what some researchers describe as a progressive haunting, where the activity starts subtle and becomes harder to ignore as time passes. Whatever's happening, it seems to be getting bolder, and then, in the most recent clip, she's moved to a different part of the house, upstairs this time, and a new problem has started. Watch.
Guys, I am so freaking scared right now. For the last couple days, I've been hearing tapping on my window, but today it's gotten louder and more consistent. And I don't know what it is, but I'm on the second floor. There should be... Nobody should be able to tap on my window. I don't have any trees. I don't have any balcony anyway for them to get... I just don't know what to do. See, there's no one out here. And I went outside, and I can hear the tapping from outside too. I just want to show you guys how high my window is from the ground. And I can still hear the tapping from out here.
3 sharp taps, distinct and deliberate, land on the glass while she's pointing the camera toward it. And then when she goes outside to show how high the window actually is from the ground, the tapping starts again. Audible even from the yard. You can hear it. There's nothing near that window. Skeptics will reach for birds or insects, but the consistency she's describing, days of it, louder each time, now audible from 2 locations simultaneously, makes that harder to hold on to. For people who follow cases like this, the pattern across all 3 clips tells a story of something expanding its presence. First the door, then objects in her immediate space, and now the exterior of the home, like something mapping out its territory, one boundary at a time. Now, in this next clip, 2 men are exploring what appears to be an abandoned building at night, with only flashlights and a phone camera cutting through the darkness. The space is silent in the way only empty buildings can be silent, where every small sound feels amplified and every step seems to echo longer than it should. Dust covers the floors, debris is scattered along the corridors, and the atmosphere carries that uneasy stillness that makes people instinctively speak in lower voices without realizing it. One of the men begins reciting Ayat al-Kursi, a verse from the Quran traditionally used as a form of spiritual protection and reassurance in moments of fear or uncertainty. His voice becomes the only steady sound in the building as they move forward, as though he is trying to anchor himself against whatever might be present in the dark around them. Then, something responds. Listen closely.
شيك بسم الله سم بالله الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم محمد الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم. في حد لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. تعال خذني معك. بسم الله. له ما في السماء. بسم الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله. اطلع من اطلع مني.
At first, it is subtle, almost easy to dismiss as part of the building settling. But as the audio continues, a low growling sound becomes noticeable, distinct enough that both the pacing and tone feel out of place with anything natural in the environment. It does not resemble wind, machinery, or structural movement, and it appears to come from somewhere within the same space they are occupying rather than from outside. In many cultural and religious interpretations, recitation in abandoned or spiritually charged locations is often described as a form of confrontation, where unseen presences are believed to either retreat, resist, or reveal themselves when exposed. So, what responded that night? You decide. The following video was recorded by a man named Isaac, who recently moved into a house that has been passed down through several generations of his family. On the surface, it seems like a typical old home. Quiet, somewhat isolated, and filled with the kind of history that comes with buildings that have stood for decades. But once you learn what happened there long before Isaac arrived, the story begins to feel far more unsettling. The original owner of the house was a war veteran. After returning from combat, he reportedly struggled heavily with PTSD, and family members say there were nights when he would suddenly leave the house and hide outside, convinced he was hearing noises coming from a small shed in the backyard. He insisted something was in there, something moving and sometimes watching. Over time, his fear of that shed grew so intense that he eventually refused to go anywhere near it. Even during the daytime, he would avoid walking past it. Years later, Isaac says that same shed is the one place on the property that never feels right. From his bedroom window, he claims he has occasionally seen figures moving inside it. Other nights, he hears loud banging coming from the shed door, like something inside is trying to force its way out. One morning, while recording a video to answer questions from viewers about the house, something strange happened. Watch this.
I've been seeing all the comments, I've been seeing all the questions, and I wanted to make a video to answer those questions for you guys now. It's about 5:30, 5:45 in the morning. I can't sleep. So I figured, why not, right? So on to the first question. What happened to the video? Y'all hear that, right? Like that. Y'all see that?
If you look closely at the window behind him, a white figure briefly appears, then suddenly moves out of sight. And not long after that, something else happens. The door slowly opens on its own, even though no one else is there. Moments like that made viewers even more curious about the shed itself, so many began asking Isaac to go inside and check it out. Watch this.
Okay, so you guys have been asking me to take you in the shed and leave the phone in there. And I know it's been a little while since I put out a video regarding the shed, but a lot has been happening and I just truly needed some time. So I took it. But just to show you, it is locked, okay? And I'm going to immediately, no cuts, as per usual. Okay, so we are walking into, God, these dolls are creepy. We're gonna walk in, well, not walk in, but we're in here now. And yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and set this up. You guys got a good view, right? Windows, everything. All right. I guess I'll catch y'all. I'm out.
While Isaac is filming, a noise suddenly comes from one of the plastic containers, a sound that almost resembles a doll shifting or trying to move inside the box. Isaac later confirmed that when he checked afterward, there was a doll that wasn't inside its box. And if you're wondering, where did all those dolls come from? It turns out the granddaughter who now owns the property has a deep love for collecting dolls. Over the years, she filled the shed with them, hoping to eventually pass the collection down to her children. But after Isaac posted that video, viewers wanted more proof of what might be happening inside the shed. So they asked him to record another clip, this time from a different angle. Watch this.
And just so you know, because the last somebody actually said in the video yesterday, of course it happens from behind the camera. That's what's behind the camera, okay? Solid wall. That's what's behind the camera, okay? Okay. I'm out. That wasn't supposed to happen. Maybe I should close the door softer next time. Let's go ahead and try that again. Okay? I'm gonna close it softly this time. Lord have mercy.
Isaac had already left the shed, yet something was moving inside. Some viewers believe the shed could be tied to the trauma of the veteran who once lived there, a place where fear and distress lingered long after he passed away. Others think the dolls themselves may be acting like vessels, objects capable of holding or attracting energy. Despite how uneasy it made him feel, Isaac kept receiving messages asking him to go back to the shed again, with many people claiming the activity probably only happened during the daytime. But that assumption turned out to be wrong. Watch this. This time, whatever might be inside becomes far more active. Objects begin shifting around the room and things scatter across the floor. Some viewers claim they can hear faint breathing sounds in the background, while others believe they hear a voice quietly saying, "Help," or possibly "Let me out," while another sound resembles someone saying, "Get out." Ever since Halloween, Isaac says every single night he hears sounds coming from the shed, noises that suggest something inside is moving things around. So each morning he wakes up to see this. Watch this.
This is what I come into every single day. Y'all ask me why the shed. Look at this. Dolls knocked over, turned around. Baseboards moved. Not baseboards. Drywall moved. Bed knocked over. Powder all over the floor. This is what I come into every single day. You guys ask me why is the shed cleaned every single time I walk in here? It's because every single day I wake up, I have to come in and clean it because it's a mess. This is a regular occurrence. So you guys are gonna watch my morning routine. Somebody said lay it like this so you get a wider angle. I have a clip on the back, so there's no way. I'm trying to figure out the best way to do this. I don't. So let's maybe from here. Oh. Okay, it's about as open as a shot as I can get because I have to. Somebody said they don't have the energy to do this. Man, it's freezing out here. It's like 20-something degrees here in South Carolina, and I'm out here having to yet once again pick all this shit up. God, I'm freezing. Even the foam mattress is solid. Good God Almighty. Back in the days when I used to wrestle, I used to pray for.
While he's sweeping and talking about the temperature in the area, a voice can be heard quietly saying, "Who's there?" Another detail also caught viewers' attention. Many people said that simply looking at that object gave them a strange, uncomfortable feeling. Several viewers even asked Isaac to investigate where it came from and why it was inside the shed in the first place. For now though, Isaac hasn't found any clear explanation, so until more details come out, that shed in the backyard remains a mystery. This next video was recorded by Nate, a man many viewers already recognize because of the strange activity that has been happening inside his home for quite some time now. Recently, people began digging deeper into his past and discovered that he used to work in a cemetery. And ever since that detail came out, some viewers have started linking the disturbances in his house to something he may have unknowingly brought back with him from that job. Whether that connection is real or not is impossible to prove, but the things happening inside his home have definitely kept people talking. One morning, Nate was simply going about his routine when he suddenly heard knocking coming from his back door. At first it sounded normal, like someone politely tapping to get his attention. Naturally, he walked over to check who might be outside, but when he got there, this happened.
So I just thought I heard somebody knocking on my back door, but I looked out there and I saw nothing, so seems like the dog heard it too. Hello? It sounds like it's coming from the back door. It's locked. There's nobody there. What the hell? I don't understand this. What the hell was that? Hello? I don't understand.
The knocking can clearly be heard, yet when Nate enters the kitchen, there's no one standing there. And if you listen carefully in the background of the clip, something else can be heard. A faint whisper that many viewers believe sounds like a woman's voice. This isn't the first time people have pointed out strange voices in Nate's recordings either. In several of his previous videos, viewers claimed to hear quiet murmurs or soft responses when Nate called out into empty rooms. Because of this, some people have started advising him to stop reacting to the activity altogether, saying that acknowledging it might only encourage whatever is causing it. But if we're being honest, that's a lot easier said than done. Imagine hearing someone knock on your door and simply ignoring it, especially when you're already dealing with things like waking up with unexplained scratches on your body, objects suddenly flying across the room, and sharp items being thrown around your home when no one else is there. At that point, curiosity and fear would probably make anyone want to check what's going on. Some viewers believe the whispers might be a form of electronic voice phenomenon, brief sounds that sometimes appear in recordings even when no one is speaking nearby. But considering everything Nate claims has been happening around him, the moment in this clip feels difficult to ignore. Whether this is connected to Nate's past work, something attached to the house itself, or something else entirely. For now, the situation remains unresolved. The following footage dates back to 2022 and was captured by a CCTV camera late at night, when the area was supposed to be completely quiet. Take a look. If you focus on the right side of the screen near the gate, you'll notice something unusual. A dark shape suddenly moves and then it disappears just as fast as it appeared. At first glance, many people suggested the most logical explanation: a camera glitch. Security cameras sometimes struggle in low light, especially when there's sudden movement, insects flying close to the lens, or changes in lighting that cause strange shadows to form. And in many cases, those explanations make perfect sense. But then, there are those who take the mystery a little further. Across many ancient cultures, there are stories suggesting that humans may not be the only beings that walk this world. Folklore from different parts of the world often speaks about shadowy figures, entities that appear briefly, moving along the edges of visibility, rarely staying long enough to be clearly seen. Some legends describe them as spirits passing between places. Others believe they could be remnants of something older, something that exists alongside us but rarely crosses fully into our world. Of course, there's no way to confirm anything like that from a single clip, but when a shape appears out of nowhere, moves like something alive, and then vanishes without a trace, it's hard not to wonder what exactly passed by. So was that a glitch, someone's shadow, or something else entirely? I'll leave that one for you to decide. Now in this next video, a man who has openly shared that he lives with severe schizophrenia decided to do something unusual. Because he often experiences things that others can't see, he started recording parts of his home at night, hoping the camera might help him figure out whether what he was seeing were hallucinations or something else entirely. One night, something strange happened and he caught it on camera. Seeing this, the man initially assumes it's just another hallucination, something his mind is creating. In the past, he developed a small trick to test whether something was real or not. Whenever he saw something unusual, he would open and close the drapes or change the lighting in the room, which usually helped make the vision disappear. So he tries the same thing again. He opens and closes the curtains, expecting the movement to stop. But this time, it doesn't. To this day, no one has been able to say with certainty what caused the movement that night. In the following video, a woman was simply recording what should have been a peaceful moment. A waterfall deep in Brazil, surrounded by nature. Nothing unusual, just a calm scene meant to capture the beauty of the place. But her camera caught something else. Watch closely.
Domingo, curtindo uma cachoeira em Vicete, Rio de Janeiro. Reparem o visual na mata. Agora o melhor de tudo é essa queda d'água. Muita água, muita força. Uhul! Ih, caraca! Uma coisa ali. Caraca, apareceu um cara ali no meio da água. Mozinho! Mozinho, você viu o cara no meio da água? Caraca! Ali, mozinho!
For just a brief moment, a dark, shadowy figure appears to rise from within the waterfall itself, before suddenly vanishing back into the rushing falls as if it was never there. Viewers have slowed the footage frame by frame, and the shape is hard to ignore. To this day, no clear explanation has been able to fully account for what was captured. Some believe this could be a jinn, entities said to inhabit wild, untouched places like forests, rivers, and waterfalls, especially in parts of the world where such stories have existed for centuries. Others suggest it may be a duende, a folkloric being often linked to natural environments in South America. There are also those who think it could be something even stranger, a being briefly slipping through from another dimension, visible only for seconds before disappearing. Skeptics argue shadows, water flow, or camera artifacts. But what makes this clip unsettling is how distinct the figure appears and how deliberately it seems to move. So what do you think this really was? A ghost tied to the land? A jinn drawn to the water? A duende watching from the falls? Or something else entirely? Now, this next video was recorded by a man who's slowly running out of explanations. For weeks, his young son has been insisting that there's someone in the house with them. At first, it was easy to dismiss. A child's imagination, shadows on the wall, toys left in the wrong place. The father brushed it off, telling his son that whatever he thought he was seeing was all in his head. But the claims didn't stop. The boy started talking to empty corners of the room. He'd pause mid-play, stare, and wave as if someone had just passed by. Sometimes he'd laugh, other times he'd go completely quiet, listening to something only he could hear. One night, just as they were about to go to sleep, the boy became visibly unsettled. Have a look.
कहाँ बैठा है कौन बैठा है ये यही मैं बाहर चला गया कौन है कौन ये कैसा दिखता है इसको बुलाओ इधर बुलाओ इसको बुलाओ बुलाओ इसको कहाँ क्या है यहाँ पे कुछ भी तो नहीं है क्यों अर्थ कर रहा है मैंने अकेले सोना होता है मतलब बुलाओ इसको इससे बात करें इसको बुलाओ इसको मुझे बात करनी है तुमसे है लड़की है लड़का है ये जिससे बात कर रहे हो ये लड़की है कि लड़का है
Watching the footage back, the father still wasn't sure what to make of it. He couldn't see anything obvious, so he shared the video online, hoping that maybe someone else would notice what he couldn't, because at this point, the situation was starting to bother him, not just because of what his son claimed to see, but because of how consistent those claims had become. Many people say you should never tell a child they're lying when they insist they see something, especially when their fear doesn't fade and their reactions don't change. Some believe children are more sensitive to things adults no longer notice. So what do you see in the video? And more importantly, how should he handle it the next time his son says he's still here? In November 2019, a young man decided to explore an abandoned 22-story building and livestream the experience. At first, everything felt routine. Dark hallways, peeling paint, the usual eerie silence that comes with places long forgotten. But things changed when he reached the 10th floor. As he angled his camera down the stairwell for just a moment, it looked like someone dressed in black was moving up the stairs toward him. Not walking, but climbing at an unnaturally fast pace. Have a look. At first glance, you might think it's just another person, but based on the distance covered in about 7 seconds, that's an extreme speed. Even trained athletes would struggle to move that fast in a confined stairwell. And then there's the sound. As the figure approaches, a low, aggressive growling can be heard in the audio. Later, people claim that his phone was found higher up the stairwell, still recording, even though the man himself was nowhere nearby. Eventually, he was confirmed to be physically safe, but according to those who spoke with him afterward, he was too shaken to give a clear explanation of what happened inside that building. So, what do you think really happened? A terrifying misunderstanding or something far worse? Let me know your thoughts on this one. In this next video, Kyle, someone who's already dealt with one strange incident after another, is still trying to figure out what, if anything, connects all of it. Just when things seemed to calm down and the activity finally stopped, a new puzzle surfaced. Listen closely.
Listen to this and tell me if you hear a kid running around inside my attic. You hear that? Things have been quiet for like weeks now, and then all of a sudden it's just a ruckus in the attic, like constant. Listen. Isn't that wild? It sounds like a kid is running around up there. And I promise I do not have a child in my attic. It's just crazy. Yeah, things have been really quiet lately. I thought maybe it had all stopped. That's why I haven't been posting. But I guess we're back with a vengeance in 2026.
What makes this unsettling is how much it sounds like children running back and forth inside his attic. What makes it worse is the timing. Kyle says he'd finally had several quiet days. No disturbances, no strange sounds, nothing to suggest whatever had been bothering him was still around. He started to believe the activity had passed, that maybe it really was over. And then this happens. Some believe that when things go quiet, it isn't because whatever's there is gone, but because it's waiting. Others speculate that attic spaces often act as focal points, places where sounds manifest more clearly, or where something chooses to stay out of sight. Kyle is hoping this was a one-off incident, but after everything he's already experienced, it's not something he's willing to bet on. Now, in this next clip, Nate is home alone when he notices something peeking out from his basement. At first, it's subtle, easy to dismiss as shadows or his eyes playing tricks on him. But the feeling sticks with him long enough that he decides to grab his camera and record. This is what he captured.
Guys, check it out. Something was peeking. Right out. From the basement. I wanted to see if we can catch it. The end of it. But it was like right by the bed. What the fuck? This has been the third morning in a row. Like clockwork. I might have to look back, but it might be around the same times as well. I don't understand. There's nothing. And then I was hearing steps coming down those stairs, but there's nothing. Guys. I don't know, guys. Maybe we can try. What was that?
Forget whatever was peeking out for a moment. What immediately unsettles viewers is the whispering. Some people claim they can make out words, while others say it's just incoherent murmuring. What makes this harder to ignore is that Nate says the peeking hadn't been a one-time thing. He claims it's been happening almost every morning for several days, always from the same spot. But one night, Nate is home watching a game when he notices the peeking again. This time, it didn't just peek. Watch closely.
Alright guys, please tell me you saw. Whatever keeps peeking out from there. Did it. I'm literally just sitting here watching the game. Wife will be home in about a half hour, so I was just waiting with the pup. And I saw. Nothing. Nothing, like always. Never anything. Nothing down there. Just bags of returnables and hoodies. What the okay. At least it's not a knife, I guess. Jesus Christ.
Now objects are being thrown. The energy feels different, more aggressive, more urgent. But once again, what disturbs people the most is the whispering. Viewers who compared both clips say it sounds like the same voice from the first video. There's a theory circulating online that whatever is in the house may be the spirit of a woman, something trapped, unable to move on, attempting to communicate the only way it knows how. Some believe the whispers aren't meant to frighten, but to get attention. Others strongly disagree, arguing that throwing objects and hiding in shadows isn't a cry for help, it's a warning. But until Nate provides more updates, there's no way to know which interpretation is right. So for now, this case remains unsolved. In the following video, a man believes he's dealing with a mimic, and according to him, whatever it is seems to be getting bolder every time it appears. He says the hardest part isn't just hearing the voices, it's when it chooses to act. Around 3 a.m., watch what happened. This time, the voice sounds exactly like his mother. After this clip surfaced, one question kept coming up again and again, and you may have noticed the pattern too. Why do mimics almost always ask to be let in? Folklore across multiple cultures shares the same idea. Mimics, whether they're thought to be spirits, entities, or something else entirely, aren't believed to have free access. Instead, they rely on invitation. Asking to be let in isn't about manners, it's about permission. Once acknowledged, responded to, or welcomed, they're believed to gain stronger influence, sometimes attaching themselves to a place, a person, or both. That's why the voices often sound familiar, trusted, and safe. Because the goal isn't fear, it's consent. As for how people claim to deal with mimics, opinions are split. Some believe the worst thing you can do is respond at all. No talking back, no opening doors, no acknowledging the voice. Others suggest grounding the space by keeping lights on, removing reflective surfaces near doors, or placing physical barriers like salt lines or iron objects, believed in folklore to disrupt whatever is trying to cross over. But many say confrontation is the solution. So the question is, would you open the door or stay silent and hope it goes away? Either way, this is one encounter most people hope they never experience. Now in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his solo investigation at the infamous Squirrel Cage Jail, officially known as the Pottawatomie County Jail in Iowa. This time, his final stop is one of the most unsettling locations in the entire building, Jake Bird's cell. Jake Bird was a convicted serial killer, often referred to as the Bluebeard of Tacoma, and is surrounded by one of the darkest reputations tied to this jail. What makes his story even more disturbing is the so-called Jake Bird curse, a legend claiming that several officials connected to his trial and execution later suffered sudden deaths or misfortune. When Ian steps into Jake Bird's cell, the first thing that immediately stands out is Jake's axe, displayed nearby. According to local history and long-standing accounts, an axe like this was linked to Jake Bird's crimes and is now kept as a reminder of the brutality tied to his name. To see if Jake Bird's presence still lingers, Ian decides to conduct a spirit box session inside the cell. Watch closely.
Are you here with me? Said summon. I heard summon. Who am I speaking with? Jake Bird. Jake Bird. It just said Jake Bird. That was so clear.
Not long after the session, Ian starts feeling unwell. But before he could leave, something else happened. Watch.
I'm starting to feel really lightheaded. Out of it. And I'm feeling really nauseous too. Oh, holy f***. I swear to God, I just see the shadow. It went into the bunk bed where the axe is. Oh God, I really don't want to go back in there. I'm sorry if I offended you, Jake Bird. I didn't mean to. I'm just gonna retrieve my spirit box. Don't mind me. Oh, God. I don't want to be in that cell anymore.
At that moment, Ian didn't hesitate. He ends the session and leaves the area entirely. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following clips were recorded by the same woman over what appears to be a string of increasingly unsettling days at her home. A place that, on the surface, looks completely ordinary, but where something seems to have made itself comfortable. It starts simply enough. She's outside in her backyard on an overcast autumn day, walking through the dry leaves, filming a dead tree that caught her eye, gnarled, full of dark holes, a little out of place among the others. She says she doesn't know what the metal bracket bolted to the trunk is for. She's curious, unbothered, almost cheerful. But as she crouches near the base of that tree, among the red leaves and the fallen branches, something catches her attention. Watch.
So I have a bunch of trees in my backyard, but there's this one that doesn't look like the other trees. So I'm gonna go check that one out because it has pretty red leaves or flowers next to it, and it's interesting. I'm wearing my work boots, so in case my dog runs off, I'm not chasing after her barefoot. So here's the tree. It's dead, but it's very pretty. And there's these weird things that are in it. I don't know what that's for. And it has crazy holes that I like. But here's the pretty red things. Flowers. No, they're leaves. Those are leaves. Oh. I like you. What is that?
She reaches down and lifts a clean white animal skull from the leaves. Empty eye sockets, prominent canines, not decomposing, just sitting there like it had been placed. A clean skull lying at the base of a dead tree isn't automatically sinister, and she doesn't treat it that way. But for viewers who've seen what comes next in her footage, many believe it fits a pattern. Some think it's nothing more than a fox or raccoon that passed nearby. Others think the placement, at the root of a dead tree, in a yard where so much else would soon go wrong, is too deliberate to dismiss entirely. That changed everything. Back inside the house, around the same period, she captures something harder to rationalize. The dog, Luna, is already alert, running down the hallway toward a set of closed double doors. Watch.
Luna, come on.
The sleigh bells hanging from the doorknobs are shaking violently and ringing loud and fast, with nothing visible touching them. No draft, no person, nothing in contact with the doors. Luna runs straight toward them, which is the detail that gets me. Dogs typically flee from things that startle them, not charge toward them, which some viewers interpret as Luna trying to confront whatever's on the other side. The bells stop almost the instant the front door opens. That abrupt silence is almost more unsettling than the ringing itself. A few days later, with a friend or family member visiting, things escalate inside the kitchen. The two women are talking casually, one of them chatting to a cat sitting on the counter, when something interrupts the whole room. Listen closely.
What you doing on the counter? Chilling here, being a kitty cat.
Did you do that?
A loud bang with no visible source, and then a bundle of what looks like dry spaghetti launches upward from behind a dining chair and arcs across the room, sending the woman in purple scrambling backward and nearly out of frame. The cat flinches. The camera operator asks, "Did you do that?" And the woman says simply, "No." Short answer, no explanation. Skeptics argue a person hidden behind the chair could have thrown it, but the trajectory, up and outward from floor level, is difficult to account for without being caught on camera. Poltergeist activity, according to those who study it, often follows this pattern: small, disruptive, physical. Objects moved or thrown, Not by a ghost in the traditional sense, but by a kind of displaced energy sometimes associated with periods of high stress or emotional tension in a household. Whatever the cause, the activity isn't slowing down. Caught on her Nest security camera at 11:23 a.m., the footage shows her lying on the couch in pink pajamas when the entire room is rattled. Watch. A sharp, loud bang from somewhere off camera, silent, percussive, echoing, jolts her straight up, and she runs out of the room within seconds, disappearing through a background doorway. The camera shakes with the impact. There's no visible source, no falling object in frame, nothing displaced in the room itself. She doesn't come back on screen. What's compelling about this one is that it's a security camera. She didn't choose to film this moment. It was recorded automatically, which makes staging it considerably harder to argue. The same day or around it, Luna is standing on her hind legs at the window, visibly agitated, when the woman notices the bathroom faucet is running at full blast. She turns it off and walks back to the living room. Then, it happens again. Watch.
And water's on. She's flipping out.
Holy crap, Mom! What are you eating? Mom, really feel the purpose. I'll probably feel better.
Literally just turned back on as soon as I sat down.
I don't see the forest.
Oh my god. Luna.
She's barely sat down when the water turns back on by itself, audible from a different room, and she has to go shut it off a second time. Then the doorbell rings clearly, and when she checks the window and the porch, there's nobody there. Not across the street, not on the path, not near the mailbox. Luna is already at the door before she gets there. Some viewers think this cluster of events, the faucet, the bell, the dog's fixation on unseen things, points to an intelligent presence, one that's interacting with the house rather than just haunting a specific room. Others suggest a plumbing fault for the faucet and a technical glitch for the doorbell, but the timing, back to back in the same clip, makes the mundane explanations feel strained. The last clip shifts the setting outdoors at dusk to a dirt path bordered by dark trees. Luna has already appeared in several of these clips, reacting before her owner does, and in this one that pattern reaches its most extreme point. The woman is walking Luna on the leash through what looks like an open field at the edge of the tree line when Luna stops cold, locks her gaze on something ahead in the darkness, and refuses to move. Watch.
Luna. 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 What? Go home. Luna, go home. Come on. No, no. No, no. Luna, come on. Stop.
After a long, still moment of staring into the dark, Luna bolts forward with enough force to pull the leash completely out of the woman's hand and runs into the field. The woman calls her back urgently. Luna, go home. No, no. But Luna stays out in the dark, circling at a distance, occasionally stopping to look back toward the tree line as though tracking something. What dogs detect that cameras can't is the part of this footage that sits with you. Whether it's a scent, a sound outside human range, or something else entirely, Luna's behavior across all of these clips, the bells, the window, the porch, the field, follows the same shape. She knows something is there before her owner does, and whatever it is, it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. The following video was recorded by a man who was working a delivery run late at night when his route took him past a cemetery. The kind of moment most people would shrug off, except this time it didn't let him go. He's driving an SUV, dashcam running in split screen mode showing both the road ahead and the interior of the car, and you can see him glance over at the fence line as he sits at a red light, muttering quietly about the cemetery next to him. He keeps driving, keeps his composure, tells himself it's nothing. And then something enters his car. Watch.
Doing my usual Uber eating, dropping off some food. I swear, this whole address gotta be set by a cemetery. If I see this again, I'm just not gonna accept it. I'll tell you that. Make sure I'm not tripping. No. Make sure I'm not tripping. So, I'm driving off the DoorDash. The Uber eating. I can't even get my daggone company straight. And you're gonna see a vibration. You're gonna see tapping at the window. You're definitely gonna hear it. Hell no. Hell no. Tripping. No, I'm not tripping. Oh, hell no, hell no, hell no, hell no, hell no, hell no, hell no. Okay.
What the? Why? What the? No. Oh hell! What the fuck? Shit! I mean, shit! Oh hell! No! Hell! Nope! No!
There are 3 separate moments in this footage, and each one is harder to dismiss than the last. The first is the subtlest, a faint translucent shape in the back seat, there for barely a second before it's gone, and his gasp is immediate and unscripted. He pulls over near the cemetery, gets out to check the car, and that's when the second moment hits. A shoe on the discarded cardboard box moved. But the third moment is arguably the most unsettling. Back inside the car, his car didn't start, and while he was trying to figure out why, one of the doors opened itself. Some who've watched this point to the escalating nature of the encounters. Subtle entry, then external manifestation, then direct interference with the car's electronics. As behavior consistent with what some paranormal traditions describe as an attachment in transit, a presence that latches onto a person rather than a location. Others think the proximity to the cemetery is the key detail. There's a long-held belief across multiple cultures that spirits tied to burial grounds are territorial, and that passing too close, especially at night, can invite something to follow. What do you think crossed into that car? The following videos were recorded by a man who had just finished construction work on a house that had been sitting completely empty for months. But one day, the slats of the blinds push apart from the inside 3 separate times, creating a V-shaped gap. And a dark shape, consistent with fingers, briefly appears in that opening before the blinds snap back into place. No one was there. The house had been vacant, and he insists no person was inside when this was filmed. Some viewers chalked it up to air pressure or a draft catching the slats at just the right angle. Others weren't buying it, pointing out the deliberate, repeated nature of the movement. 3 times, same motion, same spot, as if whatever was on the other side of those blinds kept coming back to look out. That detail is hard to dismiss. Then, it got worse. Listen closely.
Hey, Missy? Miss? That looks fucking weird. That's weird, Nick. What the frick is going on here, brother?
A loud, sharp thump rocks the space at around the 11-second mark, and right after it, the night vision on the security camera flickers completely off before snapping back on. He stops, startled, calls out, no answer. Then, as he moves deeper down the hall, a long groaning sound, low, drawn out, with no visible source anywhere in that empty building. Skeptics argue an unfinished structure naturally settles and shifts, especially at night when temperatures drop. But the sequencing here is what makes that harder to accept. The sounds don't drift or fade the way passive settling does. They escalate, one after another, almost like something in that house was making itself known on purpose. What would you do in this situation? The following clips all come from the same household, a Spanish-speaking home that, based on what's being documented across multiple nights, seems to be experiencing something persistent and escalating. It starts quietly enough. A static bedroom camera captures the room at night, the person in the bed asleep under a black and white blanket, the city lights faintly visible through the window curtains. Nothing moves, nothing sounds. But at around the 6-second mark, if you shift your attention to the right side window pane, something is already there. Watch. A tall, dark, humanoid silhouette, head and shoulders clearly defined, appears in the window's reflection, leaning into the frame from the right edge of the glass, far more solid and opaque than any ambient reflection in the room. It holds its position and doesn't move. Many viewers immediately gravitated toward the shadow person label, a term used widely in paranormal communities to describe dark, human-shaped figures that appear at the edges of spaces, in doorways, reflections, hallways, often described as observing rather than interacting. Skeptics point out that window reflections can be tricky, that a streetlight or passing car might produce a humanoid shape under the right conditions. But the figure's defined shoulders, the deliberate stillness, the way it seems to lean inward rather than just appear, that's harder to explain away. What was standing outside that window? The household wasn't done documenting. Not long after, the woman of the home grabs her phone to record something that's been bothering her for around 5 minutes. The television is changing channels on its own, lowering its volume without anyone touching the remote. She's even wrapped the remote in plastic to prove it isn't a stuck button. Watch closely.
Miren cómo le baja el volumen y cambia el canal. Es re pesado. Hace 5 minutos más o menos que está así. Y es el único control que hay. No lo estoy usando. Y pone el mismo canal siempre. Así que es la vieja escuela. Es el único control que hay y no tenemos. Literalmente no hay otro. No lo estoy usando. Pero si yo pongo el otro, me lo vuelve a bajar y me lo vuelve a cambiar. Es un patrón, parece que no quiere que veamos Gravity Falls y me lo baja. No lo voy a tocar más. Le vamos a tener que ver los picapiedras.
The TV repeatedly lowers its volume, cuts to black, and cycles back, always landing on the same channel, always returning to the Flintstones, no matter what she tries to put on instead. She puts the remote down on the bed entirely, and it keeps happening. She even says it out loud. It seems like it doesn't want them watching anything else. That detail is what makes this harder to dismiss than a simple technical glitch. A malfunctioning remote or signal interference might produce random channel changes, but a consistent preference, the same cartoon over and over, overriding manual input, starts to feel less like a hardware issue and more like intent. Some in the paranormal community interpret repeated technology interference as a sign of energy manipulation, the idea that whatever is present in a space can interact with electronics, drawn to the electromagnetic fields that devices emit. Others think it's far simpler, a glitch with a logical explanation that the camera just happened to catch at length. Either way, the woman concludes, half resigned, half unnerved, they're going to have to watch the Flintstones. But the activity didn't stay confined to electronics. During the day, the same woman attempts to light a charcoal disc, the kind used for burning resins and incense, explaining that she's already tried cleaning the space with vinegar to calm things down, and this is her 5th attempt to get the disc lit. She places it in a small white ceramic holder and walks it toward the window. Listen closely.
Voy a prender una esferita mágica porque ya había limpiado igual con vinagre el piso, pero parece que no lo calmó. Generalmente cuando prendo esto se calma un toque. El tema es que se prenda, porque ya es la quinta vez que lo trato de prender. Saltó, ¿lo vieron? Saltó. ¿Pero dónde cayó? Literalmente se partió.
Charcoal discs can occasionally crack or pop when moisture is trapped inside, but an explosion of that force, that volume of smoke, that trajectory, it's a different category of event entirely. She'd been using the disc specifically to spiritually cleanse the space, and for many viewers who practice similar traditions, the disc breaking apart so violently is itself a sign, an indication that whatever energy is present resisted or reacted to the attempt. In some folk spiritual traditions across Latin America, a cleansing ritual that fails dramatically is interpreted not as a malfunction but as pushback, evidence of a hostile presence that doesn't want to be cleared. By nighttime, whatever she thought she'd seen or sensed had become impossible to ignore. She films the door to the bathroom, a white door with textured privacy glass, because she says she can see something through it, even if the phone's reflection partially blocks the view. Watch.
De acá lo veo, pero el celular le da el reflejo. No puedo ver el vídeo tranquila porque está él. Y no hay nadie en la casa. Nadie de nadie está en la casa.
Through the pebbled glass, a dark humanoid silhouette is visible. A head, shoulders, the shape of someone standing motionless on the other side. And when she moves the camera down the darkened hallway to show there's no one there, she says it plainly. There is no one in the house, no one at all. The same household. A figure in the window reflection at night. A television with a fixed preference no one programmed. A spiritual cleansing that ended in an explosion, and a silhouette standing behind a closed door in an empty home. Whatever is happening inside those four walls, it doesn't seem to be answering any questions, just adding more. The following two clips were recorded inside what appears to be the same school building, an older institutional space in the United States where, according to the men doing the recording, strange things happen on a regular basis. The kind of building where you start noticing sounds that have no obvious source, and where being alone at night feels like a decision you quickly regret. In the first clip, two men are sitting together in a break room or office area late in the evening, and almost immediately something interrupts their conversation. Listen closely.
Oye, ¿es en la escuadra?
¿No hay nada?
A estas horas.
Ajá.
Se oye. Ayer también estaba sentado y el mismo ruido.
Okay. No, pues no, ese güey anda en el gym, Juan.
Bueno, anda en el gym,
Anda en el gym.
Mira, los horas que no estuviste aquí,
Ajá.
la semana pasada, bueno, la hora que no estuviste aquí,
Ajá.
a la madrugada. Yo vengo a las 5 de la mañana y prendo todas las luces, quito alarma, prendo las luces y la chingada.
A series of loud, rhythmic knocks ring out from somewhere unseen. Not a one-off sound that could be brushed off, but persistent enough that both men stop and try to figure out where it's coming from. One of them points out that Juan, the person they initially suspect, isn't even in the building. He's at the gym, which rules out the most obvious explanation before anyone can even settle on it. What makes this clip harder to dismiss is the older man's follow-up story. He describes arriving alone at 5 in the morning, turning off the alarm, switching on the lights, and opening a closet door, and then hearing something groan from somewhere inside the empty building. He can't say where it came from, only that he heard it, and the nervous laugh that follows suggests the memory still unsettles him. Some viewers familiar with residual hauntings think sounds like these, Rhythmic knocking, unexplained groaning are echoes left behind by something that happened in the space long ago, replaying without awareness or intent. Others think it's something more active, something that responds to presence. In the second clip, the same building, the same kind of night, and one of the men is now walking through the school alone, narrating what he sees. Dark hallways, stacked chairs, the red glow of exit signs reflecting off the polished linoleum floor. He's calm, talking about how old the school is, how strange things happen here all the time. Watch.
Porque esta es una escuela muy viejita. Entonces, pues sí, aquí, para la gente que pregunta, pasan a veces muchas cosas muy extrañas. Se escuchan muchos ruidos, tumban cosas. Entonces, eso es lo que pasa aquí. Creo que tiene más de 50 años la escuela. Controversia, ¿no? Porque ¿o escucharon un grito? Oigan. Les digo.
Mid-sentence, something cuts through the quiet. A sharp, high-pitched sound, somewhere between a yelp and a muffled scream, and he stops immediately, asking whether anyone else just heard it. His voice shifts in a way that's difficult to fake. He describes it as a scream, and for the rest of the clip, he moves through those dark hallways in silence. So, what do you think he heard? This next clip was submitted as paranormal evidence, captured by a wall-mounted security camera inside what appears to be a modest family home, focused on a combined kitchen and dining area filled with the kind of everyday clutter that makes the scene feel completely ordinary and lived in. Nothing about the atmosphere initially feels threatening. In fact, the woman who shared this video later explained that they had simply been gossiping and relaxing together when something strange suddenly interrupted the moment. According to her, the maid abruptly reacted first, looking upward towards something off camera, which immediately changed the mood in the room. Watch. There's a strange voice, loud and clear, and in many cultures, particularly across Islamic traditions, Maghrib, the period just after sunset is often considered a spiritually sensitive time. There are long-standing beliefs that dusk marks a transition period when unseen entities are more active, which is why many people are taught to avoid wandering unnecessarily at that hour or to recite prayers before night fully settles in. In folklore surrounding jinn and spiritual entities, sunset is frequently described as a time when the boundary between the seen and unseen feels thinner, making unexplained encounters more common. But the question is, whose voice was that and what was it trying to communicate? The following video was recorded by a man who, by his own admission, has reached a breaking point. Strange noises coming from inside his home, activity in the backyard, and now whatever has been happening inside his shed. He films himself in an agitated state, cutting between his own reactions and CCTV footage he pulled from a security camera mounted inside the shed, explaining that he'd been watching the ring footage from inside before driving home in the pouring rain to see it for himself. He's clearly exhausted, oscillating between disbelief and genuine fear, and you can hear it in his voice when he says, "This is becoming unbearable." The CCTV feed is grainy black and white, the kind of footage that makes everything look a little wrong even before anything happens. Watch.
I'm so over this, dude. Come on. Hey.
This is becoming unbearable. Look, I got stuff happening in the woods, in my backyard, in the shed, in the house. I've got noises, I got things outside, I got things inside, I got things falling. But I'm finding clothes that don't belong to me in the corner, apparently in front of a mirror.
What, crutches, dude? Oh, of course. By the way, that's my uncle. If you missed it, I told that in a different video. Dude.
This does not make sense anymore. I can deal with a couple weird things, okay? That's fine. I'm telling you, I can't do it anymore.
The shed door swings inward on its own with significant force, and almost immediately after, something crashes violently just off camera to the right. Objects being thrown, heavy things hitting the floor, a metallic rattling that the man himself can't identify. It doesn't stop. The destruction continues in waves, each round louder than the last, shaking the camera with the impact. When he finally walks into the shed afterward, he finds clothes that don't belong to him piled near a mirror, a pair of crutches in the closet, and nameplates on the floor he struggles to explain. For some viewers, the escalating nature of the activity, bangs, crashes, objects displaced, foreign belongings appearing, points toward a poltergeist, a term rooted in German meaning noisy ghost, traditionally associated with violent, disruptive disturbances rather than silent apparitions. Poltergeist activity in paranormal literature is often described as kinetic and chaotic, with a particular tendency to focus on one location or one person. Skeptics, on the other hand, have pointed to the timestamp on the security footage, dated to a year that hasn't happened yet, as a significant red flag, suggesting the CCTV footage may have been staged or digitally altered. That detail alone gives pause. But whatever the explanation, the sounds on that feed are genuinely hard to sit with. Then there's what he found behind his house. In the days following the shed incident, this same man walked the trails behind his property, a wooded stretch backing up to a park, and discovered something that, while not overtly supernatural, carries its own deeply unsettling weight. He mentions things have been stolen off his property before, brought back into the woods, but nothing prepared him for this. Take a look.
Trails behind my house, again, were not made by me. And now look at this. You have seen nothing yet. You literally have to duck under them, jump over them. They're wrapped up in all the trees, all the way back to the back of these trails. I mean, look at this. This is insane. Ducking under. It goes this way, as far as can be, all the way back here, wrapped around trees, goes this way. This is unreal. It spiderwebs itself back as far as you can see, and this is just one part of this trail. Look at this. The only thing it can be is either kids back here playing a joke or something, because these trails were made when I was gone. I traveled for a little bit and had to go away, so this had to be done in the winter time. But either it's kids or it's somebody like a homeless person or somebody stalking me back behind my house. But the worst thing is this. This is my bench. This is honestly unreal. Somebody, I don't even know how somebody lifted that thing up, but has brought my bench back here again, put all this on here, and basically has wrapped it up. Basically saying, F you, you're not getting your bench back. When it comes to this, I have absolutely called the authorities. Everyone has been contacted that needs be, because this is just intolerable. It's insane. It really is. I don't think this has anything to do with the haunting stuff that's going on in my yard and in my shed. I think this is something else. I feel like maybe someone has found out where I lived and they're doing this shit, or it's just somebody that's living in the woods, or kids. I don't know. I really don't know. But to do this behind someone's house, and especially in a park, they're gonna get caught, man.
Strung between dozens of trees across the trail is an elaborate web of white plastic strapping, running from ankle height to chest level, weaving in every direction, wrapped around branches and tangled in massive knots on the ground. And at the center of it all, his own garden bench, dragged deep into the woods, buried under heavy logs, and bound with the same material. He says he contacted the authorities, and he's clear that he doesn't think this is connected to the paranormal activity in the shed. His instinct points to a stalker, someone who's found out where he lives, or possibly someone living in the woods. But that separation is hard to hold on to when you're watching both clips back to back. An unseen force tearing through a locked shed at night, and then an elaborate, almost ritualistic construction in the woods behind the same house. One chaotic and explosive, the other meticulous and patient. Two very different kinds of disturbance, but both centered on the same man and the same property. Whether one has anything to do with the other, or whether the explanation for either is something as mundane as a troubled individual or something far less easy to name, is a question he's clearly still trying to answer himself. What would you do? The following clip was recorded by a group of explorers who decided to enter an abandoned building surrounded by disturbing rumors. Locals claim that people go in and come out completely shaken, some reporting sudden dizziness, intense pressure in their chest, difficulty breathing, and an overwhelming feeling that they weren't welcome there. Others say electronics malfunction, footsteps echo through empty hallways, and objects seem to move on their own. The explorers went in hoping to communicate with whatever might be causing these experiences, but instead of answers, they encountered something that seemed to confirm every story they'd heard. Watch this.
Görüntü gidiyor, var bir şey. Var bir şey var. Görüntü gidiyor. Tamam, böyle dikkat. Bismillah. Biliyorum bir şey var orada. Kafamıza gelecekti Allah aşkına. Dokundu.
At one point, an axe suddenly fell, narrowly missing them. They were incredibly lucky it didn't land on anyone. Incidents like this raise unsettling questions about the kind of presence that could exist in places like this. Some theories suggest these spirits lash out when they feel threatened, disturbed, or when their space is invaded, especially in places tied to trauma, violence, or abandonment. Whatever was inside that building didn't seem interested in communicating. It seemed angry, and that makes this encounter far more dangerous than a typical paranormal investigation. Now, in this next clip, a family has been hearing strange noises coming from their basement. At first, they didn't think much of it since the sounds were faint, irregular, and easy to dismiss, the kind of thing you blame on the house settling or your imagination filling in the gaps. But over the next few weeks, everything changed. The noises started happening more often, they grew louder, and eventually impossible to ignore. Then, one night, while the family was asleep, a sudden, heavy noise from the basement jolted them awake. Instead of staying put, the husband decided to move closer to investigate, and that decision alone sent chills through viewers. Watch closely.
Hello?
Oh my god! After the footage surfaced, opinions were split. Some viewers insist it has to be an animal, something trapped or moving around below. But others aren't convinced. They point out that the footsteps sound human. So if it isn't an animal and it isn't just the house settling, then whatever made that noise was already inside the home, waiting in the darkest part of it. But I'll leave you to be the judge of this one. On the 14th of February, 2014, a man walks into a shop like any other day. Nothing about the moment seems unusual, but what no one inside the store realizes is that something else was inside the shop. Watch closely.
Look right here. Look right here. Right here. Look. Look, watch. What is that? What is that? And it's just gone, bruh. Look at this. It's there, and now it's not. It's there, and now it's not, bruh. What is that? Bruh. What is that? What is that? And then it's just gone.
The strange figure appears and disappears in a blink, so fast that the man didn't even sense that something was there. If it wasn't for the security camera, this moment would have passed unnoticed forever. Incidents like this raise an unsettling thought. How many things move through our world without us ever knowing? How many figures slip in and out of reality just beyond our perception? Too quick, too subtle, or too unexpected for the human mind to register. And even when footage like this does surface, many people still refuse to believe it. Some call it a glitch, others say it's a shadow, a reflection, or a trick of the camera. So what do you think? Was this an anomaly or a rare glimpse into something that's always around us, quietly passing through, unseen? In this next video, a woman captured a terrifying figure inside her own home. According to her, it's late at night, and she's replaying voice messages on her phone when an overwhelming feeling hits her, the unmistakable sense that someone is staring at her, not just a thought, not imagination, that deep instinctive awareness you get when eyes are fixed on you. Trusting that feeling, she lifts her phone toward the doorway. This is what she captures. A dark figure appears, peeking from behind the door, its shape just clear enough to suggest a face watching her. What makes this even more unsettling is that this wasn't the first warning sign. Before this moment, she says she'd been experiencing subtle things around the house. Doors left slightly open when she was sure she closed them, the sound of quiet movement at night, and that recurring sensation of being watched when no one else was home. Small things she brushed off at first. Until this. Many people say humans are wired to sense when they're being observed, even without seeing it. And moments like this make you wonder how often that instinct is right. Until she shares more updates, whatever was standing in that doorway and why it was watching her remains completely unsolved. Now, in this next clip, a couple shares footage from what was supposed to be a simple cave exploration somewhere in the UK. Nothing paranormal, no ghost hunting, just curiosity and a camera rolling. But like many explorers later admit, the strangest moments aren't always noticed in real time. They're discovered after, while reviewing the footage. Watch and listen closely.
I don't blame them. Imagine how many people you can fit in here.
Because you go in here, look.
How am I going to fit through there? What? Seen all the spiders?
Yeah, have you seen them?
During the exploration, his partner becomes overwhelmed by spiders and quickly exits the cave, clearly shaken. He laughs it off at first, still filming, thinking the danger is gone, but seconds later, his mood changes. He suddenly freezes, then jumps back, reacting to the feeling that something is moving toward him from deeper inside the cave. At the time, he didn't hear anything clearly. It's only after rewatching the footage that they notice the sound at the very end of the video. Some viewers suggest it could have been an animal, even comparing it to a bear-like snarl, possibly disturbed by their presence. But others point out that caves are isolated, ancient, largely untouched, and act as natural amplifiers for phenomena we don't fully understand. In this next video, a family is together, laughing, catching up, and enjoying a quiet moment until something happens. Watch closely. Out of nowhere, the table shifts and the reaction is instant. Everyone runs. Some viewers believe this could be a prank, suggesting someone nearby might have been under the table or pulled the table. But according to locals, this area already has a reputation. Families in the vicinity have complained for years about objects moving on their own, furniture shifting slightly when no one is touching it, and sudden disturbances that happen without warning. That's what makes this moment harder to brush off. When objects move in shared spaces like this, especially during calm moments, many believe it's often the first sign something is trying to make itself known. Whether this was human interference or something far more unsettling, one thing is clear. The moment whatever happened made itself known, no one wanted to stay around long enough to find out what caused it. So what do you think happened here? Speaking of objects moving, the family in this next clip has been struggling with something they can't seem to explain. They'll leave items in one place, chairs pushed under the table, doors fully shut, small objects carefully set down, only to come back later and find everything shifted, rearranged, or completely out of place. At first, they brushed it off as forgetfulness, thinking maybe someone else moved it, or they just remembered wrong, but the patterns kept repeating. Eventually, they decided to document everything. What you're about to see is a compilation of the activity they managed to catch on camera. Watch closely.
Se movió la silla. ¿Real? Sí. Tipo, es de arquitecta. De las flores.
To some viewers, this points to something trying to interact with the physical space, poltergeist-like behavior that focuses more on movement than appearances. Others believe it could be something residual, replaying energy over and over in the same areas of the house. They've been advised to send the footage to a priest, but until that happens, speculation continues. But what do you think? Is something attached to the house, or something dangerous followed them home? I'd love to know what you think about this kind of activity. Now, in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his investigation inside the historic Mabel Tainter Memorial Theater. This time, he heads back up to the top floor, returning to the main theater area to quietly film and listen for anything out of place. Watch closely.
It's like there's somebody up there. What the hell was that? Oh, shh. Oh my god, guys, it literally sounds like she's coming down these stairs. I smell perfume. What the heck? I smell perfume. And it's starting to feel colder in here too. Ma'am, you don't have to be shy. Feel free to come down and talk to me. Madam, what's your name? Oh my god! I heard that! That was a lady's voice! Thank you, Bam. I heard you loud and clear.
As Ian stands alone in the creepy space, he suddenly notices a strong perfume smell beginning to fill the air. What's unsettling is that the scent doesn't fade. It grows stronger, almost as if someone is moving closer to him. Paranormal investigators often associate sudden smells, especially perfume, with spirit presence, particularly when there's no logical source nearby. Moments later, this happened.
Here. Hello? Oh, holy shit! Oh my god! Dude! I just fucking saw her right there! It looked like a woman in a dress. She walked into the hallway. I gotta follow her. She went down this way. Oh my god. Every hair on my body is standing on end. Where'd you go? I saw you go this way. I feel like I heard her say Mabel. It sounded like an M. Now that I think about it, that voice from earlier, it sounded like Mabel. I'm smelling that perfume smell again. Holy shit! Holy shit! No freaking way! Look at that! That thing just came undone!
This is where things take an even stranger turn. Ian believes he may have caught sight of a figure, possibly the infamous woman in white, briefly peeking out from behind the curtain. The combination of the intensifying perfume and the movement near the stage is enough to raise serious questions about what or who might still be lingering inside the theater. So what do you think? Lingering energy, a known spirit, or something else entirely? For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following video was captured by a man named Vicete, who says his workplace hasn't felt normal for a long time. What started as small, explainable things slowly turned into something he couldn't ignore. He began noticing shadows moving where nothing should be moving. Then came the physical encounters, scratches appearing on his skin while he was alone, the feeling of being pushed when no one was behind him. For a few weeks now, he has started hearing voices and seeing shadows move where nothing should be. Watch this.
And I'm gonna go outside. Hey. I'm here. Alright, so bro, that's what I'm talking about. Nobody's in this back room, in the cave. And I'm closing up and I heard this. Nobody's in here. See the cameras. Nobody's up in there. I think this door, the last time, there's nobody up in here. Like, nobody.
Many believe this could be a mimic, something repeating his own voice back to him. Others focused on the shadow that appeared, suggesting something was physically there. Some even warned that entities known for mimicry often start with simple words, testing reactions, learning behavior, and getting closer over time. But things didn't stop there. When he posted another video, the situation became harder to explain. Watch.
Hey guys, so look, I'm hearing voices again. Yo, y'all heard that, right? Yo, man, I'm freaking out. Hello? Oh, no. No. That sounded like it was literally in my ear, dude. See, look, nobody is here. Nobody's here. Oh my god, dude, it sounded like something was behind me. Hello? Okay, I'm done with this. You need to leave. Oh my... Dude, you guys hear that, right? You guys hear it? I'm not tripping. I'm not tripping.
This time, the voice isn't subtle, it's aggressive. Words like die and you're dead are heard clearly enough to make out. Some viewers went further, suggesting it could be something far more dangerous, something like a skinwalker or even a demonic presence, especially considering his earlier experiences with being physically touched and scratched. Because when something is able to move objects, speak, and make physical contact, it suggests a level of strength and control that goes beyond imagination.
Oh, nope, I just got touched. Nope. Okay, so I'm here at work. Bro, I'm telling you, you heard that, right? I'm closing. And I'm like hearing stuff, bruh. I'm like closing right now, and I'm hearing, bruh, come on, man. Nobody's in here. I'm literally closing. Yo, yo, yo. I don't know what's going on with this thing, but it's been like really active here lately. Just wanted to show you guys. There's nobody in the store but me.
Moments like this are deeply unsettling. Imagine standing alone in a quiet building, already on edge, and suddenly feeling something touch you. Not imagining it or thinking it happened, but actually feeling it. Your brain immediately tries to rationalize it. Maybe it was your clothing, maybe your nerves. But deep down, you know when something touches you. And when it keeps happening, it changes how you exist in that space. Every corner becomes suspicious, and every shadow feels closer than it should be. At this point, viewers began warning him about something else: attention. Many believe that reacting emotionally, showing fear, or constantly focusing on whatever is happening can strengthen its presence. Some even say that fear itself can act like an invitation. But when you're alone and something speaks to you, touches you, and follows you, is staying calm even possible? Well, for Vicete, it's hard to just ignore it. After days of having the same thing happen to him at work, people advised him to confront it, and here's how that went.
Leave. Oh, go. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Get out of here. Oh. Leave. Shh. Ooh, dude, I'm hearing shit. No. Okay, you just go. Just get out. Leave. Oh, God damn it. Dude, I got touched by that thing. I'm just letting you go. There's nobody in the store. See, I'm doing what you guys want, and then I'm hearing there's shit going on everywhere, dude. Man. Leave. You need to leave.
As he tells whatever is there to leave, something suddenly pushes him, and if something can touch you, it can reach you anytime it wants. Vicete later revealed something even more unsettling. Other employees had experienced strange things too, hearing voices and feeling watched, but not as often as he has. Almost like whatever is there chose him specifically. A few weeks after his last post, things got worse.
I'm trying to lay down, and these damn lights won't stop going on and off. And I'm the only one here currently, and all my damn cabinets are open. And my remote for the lights are over there. And they just won't turn off. Yo, what the f is that?
Now, it wasn't just his workplace anymore. Cabinets he clearly remembered closing would be open, lights he turned off would turn back on, and he began hearing the same kinds of sounds inside his own home, the same presence, and the same feeling of not being alone. Many believe this could be attachment, when something connects itself to a person rather than a place. Others believe that by documenting it, speaking to it, and confronting it, he may have made himself more visible to it, reinforcing whatever connection had already begun. Because sometimes the moment something realizes you can hear it is the moment it stops hiding and starts getting closer. So what do you think Vicete is really dealing with? And once something starts interacting with you like this, is it already too late to make it stop? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. In this next clip, Nate is still trying to understand what's happening inside his house, and at this point, it's no longer just the occasional strange moment. For weeks now, he's been hearing footsteps when no one else is home. Heavy walking sounds moving from one room to another, doors creaking open slowly, and sometimes even faint whispers late at night when the entire house should be silent. He's woken up to things in different positions than he left them, and there are moments when his dog refuses to enter certain parts of the house, staring into empty space like it sees something he can't. You know how terrifying it is to feel like your home, the one place that's supposed to be safe, is no longer fully yours. That's exactly how Nate feels. Watch this.
I'm literally hearing walking, like right next to me, and swore I heard a muffled voice. It was like I hope the camera's picking that up. I hope my phone is picking that up. What is that?
What you're hearing doesn't sound like the house settling. It sounds like something running back and forth with muffled voices, low, unclear, but definitely there. Some believe this could be what's known as a residual haunting, energy repeating the same actions over and over, but others believe it's something far more dangerous. The disturbing part is, it didn't stop. The stomping and pacing continued for weeks. Then one morning, while Nate was working out, he heard something else.
Hey guys, I'm hoping the phone picks this up. I was working out in here stomping. Right above me is my bedroom. I really hope the phone is picking that up. It was so loud that I actually dropped the weight. God, I hope it's picking that up. Oh my God. What is that? I'm shaking right now. I don't know what the
Toward the end of the video, a voice can be heard saying, "You need me." Some believe statements like that suggest attachment, when whatever is present no longer sees itself as separate from the person, but connected to them, dependent on them, or worse, believing the person belongs to it. And what makes that idea so disturbing is what it implies. If it's attached to him, moving might not solve anything, distance might not matter because it wouldn't be staying in the house, it would be staying with him. Entities like this sometimes create dependency. They observe, they wait, and eventually they make their presence known in a way that makes the person feel chosen, not for comfort, but for control. And now, for the first time, Nate is seriously considering leaving his home. But after hearing those words, he's no longer sure if leaving is the right thing to do, because if something inside his house truly believes he needs it, it may never let him go. If you were in Nate's position, would you stay and try to understand it? Or leave, knowing it might follow? Now in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian visits one of the most feared and talked about locations in Indiana, the Blackford County Jail, hoping to finally understand why so many unexplained incidents are still being reported there. This isn't just another abandoned building, this jail has a long and disturbing history, and many who've entered its lower levels say the basement feels different from the rest of the structure. Heavier, oppressive, like something is still occupying that space. But what makes this visit different is the specific reason Ian went down there. For years, people have reported sightings of what they describe as a little person moving in the basement. Not a shadow, not a vague shape, but something physical, small, and fast. Some believe it's the spirit of a former inmate trapped and unable to leave, but others strongly disagree. They claim what's down there isn't paranormal at all. They believe it's something alive that hides and watches. Watch.
Is there anybody down here? They say that this hole is a portal that spirits can enter. If this is indeed a portal to the spirit world, could you come up out of that hole? Float upward towards me. Little person? Are you down here? Are there any prisoners down here? This is where they kept the worst of the worst. Oh!
After hearing that sound, Ian immediately freezes. It isn't the kind of noise old buildings usually make, and it doesn't sound like wood settling or pipes shifting. He stands there, listening carefully, trying to determine where it came from. But the silence that follows is almost worse. Going down there alone didn't sound like a good idea, especially knowing the stories. So instead, Ian decided to wait, hoping to catch even the slightest movement that could explain what he just heard. And then, after a while, he sees this.
Whoa, 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 what did I just see? What did I just see? I just seen something on the ground. Holy crap. It didn't look like a person though.
For a brief moment, something appears small and low to the ground. It moves quickly enough to avoid being clearly identified. But it's there, and it wasn't his imagination. Some viewers believe this could be the little person witnesses have been describing for years, a spirit manifesting in physical form. Others believe something far more disturbing, that there may actually be a living presence hiding beneath the jail, something that has adapted to the darkness, something that knows how to avoid being seen. At this point, Ian has a choice. He can leave knowing he's already captured something unexplained, or he can go further into the one place everyone warned him about. But Ian didn't come all this way to turn back now. Determined to finally uncover the truth, he slowly makes his way deeper into the basement, stepping toward the exact area where the figure had appeared only moments earlier, his light scanning the darkness while the silence around him feels heavier than before, like something is waiting for him to make the next move. Watch.
Oh god. Oh my god. It is so scary down here. Oh. I don't see anything over here. Creepy crawl space. Oh. I am not going in there. No. Little person. Are you in there? What if it snatches my arm? I hear you. He's gotta be down here. Oh.
rock just got thrown at me.
Suddenly, rocks are thrown in his direction, and the timing makes it impossible to ignore because it happens right as he gets closer, almost like a direct response to his presence, like a warning meant to stop him from going any further. And that realization alone is enough to make him think that he may not be alone in that basement after all. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now.